I'm Christian Garrick. Saints win 21-18 over the Atlanta Falcons. They've won 6 of the last 7 against Atlanta, and they've swept 2 of the last 3 seasons over the Falcons. And Bobby, hey, take this win any way you can get it.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game. And whenever you win this type of game, at times it was ugly, but a win is a win. I'd rather win ugly than like, oh, but that was a great performance. Just had a lot of bad luck if we lost. No, you got to win the game. And it's always a great day in America when the Saints win and the Cowgirls lose. It just shows you in the NFL, you don't know what's going to happen. You look at the Jaguars, you look at the Cowgirls. Look at yesterday, the Colts and the Vikings. Just look where their seasons were at. And then how about the Bears and the Eagles? Look at that game. So the NFL's crazy. That's why you better pack a lunch and come to play. You don't have any homecoming games or no bye weeks. You got to come to play. Hey, the Saints going to have a short week. They're going to have to bring it on Saturday. Might be snowing against the Browns. You know what I'm worried about? I know the Browns can freaking run the ball. Well, again, they better pack a lunch to stop the run because that was like Deuce would say, that was terrible. Or Charles Barkley, that 39 attempts, 231 yards, and they basically averaged 6 yards a carry. And you're going against Cleveland. Well, I think they're going to have, I would say, 35, 40 rushing attempts to see. If we don't know, it might be inclement weather and what's going to come about. I think they're going to try and run against the Saints come Christmas Eve.
I don't know if you watched the last drive there for the Browns in that game, but it looks like Deshaun Watson's starting to shake off a little bit of that rust. He's starting.
Yeah, well, he basically didn't play for 2 years, and so he's coming back. Listen.
I know the score isn't indicative of
right.
But what I'm saying is, if you watched it, you saw him start to fall into a rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, but the Browns are still. They're still like I'm gonna run you over. Type team. And look, when they do that against the Ravens, a type mentality, that goes a long way. But looking at the Saints today, they get their second series sweep of the Falcons in the past 3 years. So, Christian, you talked about that. As of late, no, the Saints have dominated Atlanta. Now, it doesn't get any better than this. We now have the lead. Now, it's a slight lead. We have 54 wins in the series, and Atlanta has 53. It was 53-53, the rubber match. So we're now up 54 to 53. And now, look at the Saints since 2006, the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era going forward. Since 2006, we're now 24-10 against Atlanta. Now, I thought this was interesting, that, scoring defense. Even though we weren't getting punched in the mouth and run over at times, where's your scoring defense? The Saints have now allowed 20 points or fewer in 6 of their last 7 games. Well, I'm just saying, if we continue to do that forward, if we allow 20 or fewer points in 6 of 7, I say you should be on those games 6-1, not 500. So that's a good sign going forward there as far as scoring defense. Now, looking at where we're at, I think we're a lot better at the beginning on third down converting. We were right at 50%, 5 of 11, but not so good. Atlanta got kind of better the way they were able to run the ball, 56%. So we have to get better on third down. The only area that we really excelled at this year, I got to look at my notes where I have this somewhere, is red zone defense. We have been outstanding overall red zone defense, but nothing else to write home about. So that's where we got to get better. If you're truly going to be, if you look at it right here, we're 4th in the NFL in red zone defense. Any other category, we're not top 10. And when our defense is supposed to be top 10 this year, how we're structured, I don't care if it's Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton. Well, we had the 4th red zone defense. And if you look at Atlanta, this is good. They wasn't 100%. They were 1 of 2, 50%, getting touchdowns. So that's a good thing there when you look at what we've accomplished defensively, what we can build upon about red zone defense, bend but don't break, and then scoring defense. That's going to go a long way. Now, this was good enough for us. So we averaged basically 4 yards a carry, 34 rushing attempts. You always want to hit that mark, 30 plus or high 20s. We had 134 yards, but this is embarrassing, really. When you look at it, they had 231 yards rushing, 39 attempts, 6-yard average. So we averaged 4 yards, they averaged 6. But the one thing, Desmond Ridder, you might have a lot of Saints fans. They might say, well, there's no way Andy Dalton's going to outplay Desmond Ridder, the rookie. The rookie's a stud or whatever. I don't know. He went too studly. He was a 50% passer. He was 13 of 26, and he didn't throw for 100 yards. In this modern-day football passing, he threw for 97 yards. You know what his yards attempt were per pass? 3.7. Christian, well, when you throwing screens every play, all right, 3.7 yards an attempt, 97 yards. He's 13 of 26, sacked 4 times, quarterback rating of 59. Andy Dalton, his yards per attempt was 8.9. Got sacked a couple of times, but his quarterback rating was 132. So you got the old wily veteran, 132 quarterback rating versus the young stud rookie, Desmond Ridder, only with a 59 QB rating. Now, I thought Taysom Hill was outstanding, how to utilize him in the passing game. 2 for 2, 80 yards. You can't get better than that. 2 for 2. You can't be like.
You just can't.
Well, I mean, if you threw 2 passes, you completed 2 passes, so 80 yards. It doesn't get any better than that. Perfect quarterback rating by Taysom Hill. If you look at the production we had, and I was worried about this, because Alvin Kamara, when he came into the game as of late, and I'm talking about, I want to say a handful of not 6 games, he was averaging like 56 yards from scrimmage. What? We need him to get, for sure, at least twice that, or maybe 3 times. Well, I think it was serviceable today. Alvin Kamara had 114 yards total as a pass receiving running back. Now, those only 13 yards, but he ran for 91. Basically average 4.5 yards a carry like Taysom Hill. But he got 21 attempts. So if you look at it, Alvin Kamara had 23 touches and he ended up having 114 yards. Taysom, if I count his yards passing, which you look at all-purpose yards, and, because he didn't catch any balls today, though, from Andy. He didn't catch any passes. But as far as passing the football when running, that's pretty balanced. He had 110. So Alvin Kamara contributed for 114, Taysom Hill 110. Now the stud, the fantasy stud. Now people say, "Hey, Bear, why didn't you tell me about Juwan Johnson? He's gonna get all these damn touchdowns. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know. Did you see that, Christian?"
No, I at one point thought Juwan Johnson was going to get cut in training camp. Honestly, the way he was playing.
Well, we all thought like they were hoping when they drafted him that Adam Trout would be this type of receiver, but not so fast. Juwan Johnson, not so fast. It's not even close. Juwan Johnson, like you said, he's only behind Kelsey in the whole National Football League as far as touchdowns by tight end. He has 7. Chris, that is so far ahead of the other receivers on the team. Juwan Johnson has 7 touchdowns. You know who's second? I think Michael Thomas was playing. We all know he had 2. But like Chris Olave has 3.
Guess how many touchdowns Travis Kelce has?
Probably I would say 9.
12.
Okay, 12. So 12 and it goes down to 7. But but you look at Kittle, you look at all the other stud tight ends. Now you might say they have more weapons, they spread the wealth, whatever. But they give you Chris Olave, outstanding rookie. He has 3 touchdowns. Juwan Johnson with 7. I thought Rashid Shaheed, again, he's in the game. Marquez Callaway, sorry, you might be not getting any reps. Come on, Chris, I can't think of his name. Temple, the receiver. Come on.
Marquez Callaway.
No, and then the guy from Temple we drafted, who helped you read the record.
Oh, he wasn't from Temple. He's from UCF, and that's
You said not Temple. I was thinking of Kirkwood.
Yeah.
Okay, Traquan Smith and Callaway. Sorry, you might be inactive, or you're not going to get the ref. Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed, 4 targets, 3 catches, 95 yards, 32-yard average, a touchdown. Juwan Johnson, 17-yard average. Chris Olave, right at 18 yards. So there was some big plays. And I looked at my notes, Chris. We were talking about this when the game was unfolding. And this was at halftime, and we continued to build upon that as far as the actual like big plays that we were able to get. I think wasn't it at 11 or
11 total
no,
for the game.
okay, 11 for the game.
Digit.
We had 9 by halftime. We had 9 plays, double-digit yards by halftime, and we ended up with 11. So that's a good sign. So that's an explosive offense. You look how we started the game. Here we 2 for 2 on third down. We go 9 plays, 56 yards, and we're up 7-0. We force it 3 and out. Then we go 2 plays, 73 yards. Now it's 14-0. I said, man, we might crush Atlanta, considering. But then all of a sudden, you end up stopping yourself and what occurs. But if you look at the game and how that progressed, this is where it could have been really. And Dennis Allen said how awesome he played, and he has covered well. But if he wants to go to the next level, you got to make those interceptions. Alante Taylor had a chance, I want to say, at 3 interceptions and a pick 6 for one of them. If you look at the beginning of the second quarter, when that occurred, I was like, God, man, we got to make this. All of a sudden, it'd been a 90-something plus yard pick 6. It would have been 21-0. And all of a sudden, you don't have that pick 6. And now it's 14-3 instead of 21-0. Now, if you look at it again, David Johnson, I don't care who's the running back, whether it's Mark Ingram, David Johnson, Alvin Kamara. Come on, dudes. Y'all can't fumble. It's 31. We're ready to score in position. You cannot fumble. And all of a sudden, we -1 in the turnover margin. And that led us right there on that turnover. I don't know how the whole weekend unfolded, but we had 22 giveaways now, the most in the NFL. That's what you don't want to be leading in. Oh, the season's almost over, and we #1 in the NFL in the most giveaways. Well, you look at the record, that plays a big part. But we did bounce back. We ended up having a 0 turnover margin. We still -12 for the season, so we didn't gain one. We didn't lose one. I thought the penalties, how they called the game. Didn't you think, Christian, that they called 9 total? 9 total. I mean, yeah, they let
there was one bogus on Tyrann Mathieu early in the game.
Oh,
that was a bogus call.
That was like that's like clinic real. That was like perfect coverage by Honey Badger. That's not a penalty. And there was another nitpicking one. It might have been I don't know if Debo was there, or maybe it was an Alante Taylor. I mean, to me, there was. I don't know the one about a Debo because I think that's when they had both holding on the Falcons, and then we got So I think it was one on Alante Taylor. Okay. I said that's good defense. That they should never call that. But then looking out the game unfolded, and who made an impact on defense? He continues to. This is another trivia question. Okay, fans would guess this. Who's leading the sack? If you watch it now, you think maybe, it's a defensive end, Cam Jordan or something. Who's leading the Saints in sacks? Okay, you'd say we all know Demario Davis with 6.5. Well, they have 2 players that are tied for second. Okay, at 5.5. One is Cam Jordan. Who's the other one?
Caden Ellis.
Yeah, you because I told you to answer, Chris, before, but the fans would not guess that. Caden Ellis, 5.5 sacks. He's tied for second behind Demario Davis with Cam,
who's had limited playing time. Remember now, he played for Pete Warner.
Christian, it was halfway through the season when he first came. With 5.5 sacks. I thought, give a game ball to Kentavious Street. Kentavious Street now has 3 sacks for the season. He's the one that gave Drew Brees the business and hurt his ribs. But he has 3 sacks for the season. He had 2 quarterback hurries, 2 tackles for loss. So he came up big time. I thought Honey Badger came up big time. He had a chance maybe to get a couple of picks. Had a couple of pass defending and had his first sack of the season.
He's Bobby. I'm Christian. Saints win 21-18 over the Atlanta Falcons. This is the point after here on the Community Coffee New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Saints win, Cowgirls lose.